Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare Abraham Lincoln penny coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we've got a real treat for you coin lovers. We're going to be talking about a coin that might just be hiding in your collection or even in your spare change, the 1980 United States 1-cent coin. You might think it's just another penny, but trust me, this one is far more than meets the eye. Let's start with a bit of history. The 1980 penny was minted during a fascinating time in American history. The U.S. economy was navigating through the tail end of the 1970s recession, and the country was about to enter a new decade full of changes and challenges. The 1-cent coin from this year wasn't just any ordinary piece of currency. It was part of a larger effort by the U.S. Mint to continue producing coins that reflected the nation's growth and evolution. While millions of these pennies were produced, not all were made equal. Over the years, some of these 1980 pennies have become highly coveted by collectors. Now, let's talk about the design. The 1980 penny, like all pennies from that era, features the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln's portrait is as timeless as ever, symbolizing freedom and unity. On the reverse side, you've got the iconic Lincoln Memorial, which was also designed by Frank Gasparo. The design has been a staple of U.S. currency for decades, representing the country's respect for its history and its founding principles, but here's where things get interesting. While most of these pennies were minted in vast quantities and circulated extensively, what makes the 1980 penny stand out is its rarity in top-tier condition. You see, coins that were heavily used in everyday transactions over time tend to get worn down, making them less desirable to collectors. But, when you find a 1980 penny in near-perfect or uncirculated condition, it can have a surprising value, way beyond the usual 1 cent. Now, let's dig into what truly drives the value of these coins. Condition is key. A typical 1980 penny in circulation today might only be worth a few cents, maybe a little more if it's in good shape. But, when you get your hands on one of these pennies that has been well preserved, free from scratches, dings, and discoloration, that's when the real magic happens. Some 1980 pennies have even been found in pristine, uncirculated condition, which puts them in a whole different league, but that's not all. There are certain versions of the 1980 penny that can fetch much higher prices due to unique characteristics or errors that occurred during the minting process. These rare errors, such as misprints or off-center strikes, can make the coin even more valuable. So, it's important for collectors to keep their eyes peeled for any subtle differences that could set a coin apart from the rest. Here's the part you've been waiting for, the value reveal. Are you sitting down? If you have a 1980 penny that's in absolutely perfect condition, or even better, a version with a rare minting error, it could be worth as much as $58,000. Yes, you heard that right, $58,000 for a single penny. Who would have thought that something as small as a penny could carry such an impressive price tag, right? So, next time you're going through your spare change or looking through your old coin collection, take a moment to inspect those 1980 pennies. If you find one in excellent condition or with a rare minting error, you might just have a small fortune sitting in your hands. Top 2, we're going to dive into a fascinating treasure that could be hidden in your pocket change or your coin collection, the 1975 United States 1-cent coin. Now, we all know the 1-cent coin is often seen as a small, insignificant piece of currency, but you might want to think twice about that the next time you come across one of these pennies. Especially the 1975 variety. Let's take a step back in time. The year 1975 was an interesting period in the history of the United States. The country was experiencing a time of economic change, political upheaval, and cultural transformation. The U.S. Mint was busy churning out coins to meet the demands of a growing economy. But in the sea of millions of 1-cent coins that were produced that year, only a handful stand out for their rarity and unique characteristics. Many of the 1975 pennies were circulated and became worn down, but there's something truly special about a select few that still exist in excellent condition today. Now, let's talk about the design. As with most pennies from the 20th century, the 1975 1-cent coin features the well-known portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this image of Lincoln has graced U.S. currency for decades, symbolizing the strength and unity of the nation. On the reverse side, we see the iconic Lincoln Memorial, which was designed by Frank Gasparo. The memorial, a symbol of American history and pride, has been featured on the penny since 1959, reminding us of the country's founding ideals. While the 1975 penny's design is beautiful and timeless, what truly sets it apart from other pennies is its rarity. Most 1975 pennies were produced in vast numbers and saw heavy circulation, which means they've been worn down and damaged over time. Finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition is incredibly rare and can make all the difference in terms of value. When a coin like the 1975 penny is found in almost perfect condition, it becomes a highly sought-after item for collectors who are willing to pay top dollar for a rare and well-preserved piece of history. But wait, there's more to this story. Some of the 1975 pennies, due to minting errors, are considered even rarer. Over the years, there have been reports of coins from this year that have odd features or imperfections, things like double strikes, off-center designs, or even unusual metal compositions. These error coins are prized among collectors because they are essentially one-of-a-kind items. If you find a 1975 penny with one of these errors, it can drastically increase the coin's value. So, let's get to the exciting part, the value. You might be surprised to learn that a 1975 penny in pristine, uncirculated condition can fetch an impressive amount of money, but if you happen to come across one with a rare minting error, you could be sitting on a true goldmine. Are you ready for the big reveal? If you have a 1975 penny that's in mint condition, or even better, one with a unique error, you could be looking at a value of $65,000. Yes, you heard that right, $65,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe, but that's the kind of value that these rare 1975 pennies can command in the right market. So, next time you're going through your coin jar or looking through your collection, take a closer look at any 1975 pennies you might find. If it's in excellent condition, or if you spot an unusual characteristic, you might just have a coin that's worth a small fortune. Top 3, we've got a real gem for you, one that's probably been sitting in your pocket change all along without you even knowing its potential. It's the 1982 United States 1-cent coin, and trust me, this little penny might be worth more than you can imagine. Let's take a step back in time to the year 1982. It was a significant year for the United States in terms of both politics and culture. The country was coming out of the economic struggles of the late 70s, and new technological advancements were making waves in the world. Meanwhile, the U.S. Mint was busy at work producing billions of coins to meet the needs of the growing economy. This included the 1982 penny, which would go on to become one of the most interesting and valuable coins for collectors. At first glance, the 1982 penny might not seem too remarkable. After all, it features the same familiar image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, which has been a staple of U.S. currency for over a century. Designed by Victor David Brenner, Lincoln's portrait continues to symbolize the strength and unity of the nation. On the reverse side, you'll find the iconic Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, which has been gracing the back of pennies since 1959, representing the country's rich history and respect for its founding. So, what makes the 1982 penny stand out? Well, in 1982, something interesting happened with the composition of the penny. Before 1982, pennies were made from 95% copper and 5% zinc, which gave them a solid and heavy feel. However, due to rising copper prices, the U.S. Mint made a significant change. In 1982, the Mint began producing pennies with a new composition, 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper, resulting in a much lighter coin. This shift in material caused a small but significant change in the penny's weight, and it's what makes the 1982 penny so intriguing. Now, you might be wondering, how does this affect the value of the coin? Well, this is where it gets exciting for collectors. Since the 1982 penny was produced in both copper and zinc variations, it created a situation where certain coins from that year are much rarer than others. In fact, there are even some special pennies that were mistakenly struck with the old copper composition, making them incredibly rare and valuable. If you happen to come across a 1982 penny that has the copper composition, you could be holding something truly special. These pennies were only minted in small quantities before the mint switched to the zinc version, so finding one in great condition is a rare occurrence. And it doesn't stop there. Some of the 1982 pennies, especially those with the copper composition, were minted with errors, such as double strikes, off-center impressions, or other unique characteristics that make them even more valuable to collectors. So, how much could a 1982 penny be worth? Are you ready for the exciting part? If you happen to have one of those rare 1982 pennies with the copper composition in excellent, uncirculated condition, or one with an error, you could be sitting on a coin worth $57,000, yes, you read that right, $57,000 for a single penny. That's the kind of value some of these rare 1982 pennies can fetch when they're in pristine condition or have unique minting errors. So, next time you're going through your coin collection or sifting through spare change, make sure to take a closer look at any 1982 pennies you come across. You might just have a small fortune sitting in your hands. Top 4, we've got something truly special to talk about, the 1973 United States 1-cent coin. This isn't just your average penny. In fact, it might be worth more than you think, and by the end of this video, you'll understand why. Let's go back in time to 1973. The world was changing, the US was in the middle of a dynamic cultural and political era, and the economy was still adjusting after the turbulence of the 1960s and early 70s. While many historical events were unfolding, the US Mint was busy at work producing billions of coins, including the 1973 penny. Little did anyone know that this seemingly ordinary penny would one day capture the attention of coin collectors and enthusiasts around the world. At first glance, the 1973 penny may seem like just another run-of-the-mill cent. Like every penny since 1909, it features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. This image, which has become one of the most recognizable portraits in history, represents the leadership and strength of one of the greatest U.S. presidents. On the reverse side, you'll see the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, which has adorned the back of the penny since 1959. This design continues to honor the legacy of Lincoln and the American ideals he stood for. So, why is the 1973 penny so special, you might wonder? It's actually a combination of factors that make this coin stand out. First, we need to understand the context. By 1973, the U.S. Mint was continuing its production of pennies primarily made of copper, and these pennies were still relatively common in circulation. But over time, as with most coins, their condition began to degrade, and many of them were subject to heavy wear and tear as they passed through the hands of millions of Americans. However, the real intrigue surrounding the 1973 penny is tied to its rarity, particularly when it comes to finding one in exceptional condition. Like any other coin, a penny that has been well preserved and remains in uncirculated condition is much more valuable than one that has been heavily used. This is where things start to get exciting for collectors, because finding a 1973 penny in pristine condition isn't as easy as you might think. In fact, it's relatively rare to come across one that is nearly flawless, but the story doesn't end there. In addition to finding the 1973 penny in excellent condition, there are also specific minting errors that could make these pennies even more valuable. Coin errors are always highly sought after by collectors, and a 1973 penny with an off-center strike, double die, or some other unusual feature could drastically increase its value. These minting anomalies are often small, but they make a coin unique and can turn a seemingly ordinary penny into a highly coveted treasure. So, how much can the 1973 penny actually be worth? Well, if you happen to have one of these rare coins in perfect condition or one that has a minting error, you might be in for a huge surprise. Are you ready for the big reveal? If you've got a 1973 penny that's in uncirculated condition or one with a rare error, it could be worth as much as $66,000, yes, you heard that right, $66,000 for a single penny. It's mind-blowing to think that a coin worth just 1 cent when it was minted could now be worth a small fortune. So, next time you're going through your spare change or checking out your coin collection, take a closer look at any 1973 pennies you come across. If it's in great condition or you spot any unusual features, you could be holding onto something truly valuable. Top 5. We're about to uncover the incredible value of a coin you might already have in your collection or possibly hidden away in your change jar, the 1976 United States 1-cent coin. This penny might just look like any other, but trust me, it's anything but ordinary. Let's take a quick trip back in time to 1976. This year marked the United States' 200th anniversary of its independence, and celebrations were happening all across the nation. While the country was busy celebrating its bicentennial, the U.S. Mint was working hard to produce the necessary currency to support the nation's economy, including the 1976 penny. What most people didn't realize at the time was that this particular year of coin production would be more significant for collectors than anyone could have imagined. The 1976 penny is the same familiar design you've probably seen many times before. On the front, we have the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, which has been gracing the penny since 1909. And on the reverse, the familiar Lincoln Memorial stands tall, designed by Frank Gasparo. These designs represent the strength and unity of the United States, making this penny a symbol of the country's history. But while the design remains timeless, what makes the 1976 penny truly special isn't the design, it's the condition and rarity of certain coins from that year. You see, the 1976 penny was minted in large quantities to meet the demand for coins during the bicentennial celebrations. Like most pennies, these were heavily circulated in everyday transactions, which means they often show signs of wear and tear. Most of the 1976 pennies you'll come across have been through years of use and no longer hold their original, pristine look. But here's the kicker: finding one that is in perfect, uncirculated condition is incredibly rare, and it's this rarity that makes the 1976 penny so valuable. But what makes this penny even more intriguing is that there were actually a few rare variants of the 1976 penny, particularly when it comes to minting errors. Minting errors occur when something goes wrong during the production process, and these rare mistakes can turn an ordinary coin into a highly sought-after collectible. For example, some 1976 pennies were struck off-center, creating a distinctive misalignment in the design. Others were double-struck, meaning the coin was pressed more than once during production, which resulted in a unique appearance. These types of errors are incredibly rare, and collectors go wild for them because they are essentially one dash of dash a dash kind. So, what's the big deal with the 1976 penny in today's market? Well, if you happen to have one of these coins in uncirculated condition, or even better, one with a minting error, it could be worth a lot more than you think. In fact, if you have a 1976 penny in pristine condition, you could be holding onto a coin worth a small fortune. And if that coin has a rare minting error, then you might be sitting on something truly special. Are you ready for the jaw-dropping reveal? A 1976 penny in mint condition, or one with a rare minting error, could be worth as much as $67,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $67,000 for a single penny. It's unbelievable, but it's true. A penny that once circulated as just another piece of change could now be worth more than most people's cars, and it's all thanks to its rarity, condition, and the potential for rare minting errors. So, the next time you're going through your change jar or digging through your coin collection, take a second look at any 1976 pennies you find. If it's in great condition, or you spot something unusual like a minting error, you might just have a coin that's worth far more than you ever imagined. This is one penny that could change your life. Top 6. We're diving into a penny that you might just find hiding in your collection or perhaps in your spare change. The 1981 United States 1-cent coin might look like any other penny, but let me tell you, it's far more valuable than you might think. By the end of this video, you'll be surprised at what this seemingly ordinary coin could be worth. To understand the significance of the 1981 penny, let's take a quick trip back in time to the year it was minted. The early 1980s were a period of economic challenges for the United States, with inflation rates high and the country in the middle of a recession. But even in tough times, the U.S. Mint continued to produce the coins we use every day, including the 1981 penny. While the coin itself might have been common in its day, what we're focusing on today is how its value has evolved over the years. The 1981 penny features the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, as designed by Victor David Brenner. This famous portrait of Lincoln has been gracing pennies for over a century, making it one of the most recognized coin designs in the world. On the reverse, you'll find the familiar Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, which has been part of the penny's design since 1959. These two images are classic symbols of American history, and the 1981 penny is no different in that regard. However, the story doesn't end with the design. It's the condition of the coin that really sets it apart in the world of collectors. You see, most of the 1981 pennies that were minted saw heavy circulation and have been worn down over time. As with most coins, this means that many of them have scratches, dents, and discoloration from being used in daily transactions. But here's where things get interesting. Finding a 1981 penny in mint condition is incredibly rare. Pennies from this year, like many others, were produced in large quantities, but not all survived the years in perfect condition. Coins that have been carefully preserved and are in uncirculated condition are highly sought after by collectors, and they can fetch a much higher value than the typical penny you'd find in your pocket. Now, you might be asking yourself, what makes a 1981 penny in mint condition so valuable? The answer lies in scarcity. Coins that are in pristine, uncirculated condition are extremely rare because they were often used for years before they were taken out of circulation or put into collections. When it comes to rare coins like the 1981 penny, it's not just about finding one that looks shiny. It's about finding one that is free from any wear, scratches, or imperfections. And if you happen to find one with a unique characteristic, say, a rare minting error, then you've struck gold. Speaking of minting errors, there are a few types of errors that could make a 1981 penny even more valuable. These might include off-center strikes, double dies, or other imperfections that occurred during the minting process. Such coins are prized among collectors because they are considered one of a kind. If you happen to find a 1981 penny with any kind of error, you could be sitting on a coin that is worth far more than you'd expect. So, let's get to the big question. How much is the 1981 penny really worth? Well, if you've got a 1981 penny in perfect, uncirculated condition or one with a rare minting error, you might be in for an exciting surprise. Are you ready? A well-preserved 1981 penny could be worth as much as $58,000. That's right, $58,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe, isn't it? A coin that once circulated as just another everyday penny could now be worth a small fortune. So, next time you're going through your coins, make sure to check any 1981 pennies you come across. If you find one that looks almost brand new or has a unique error, you could have a rare find that could make you a significant amount of money. Top 7. We're about to dive deep into the value of a coin that you might already have in your collection or even in your spare change, a United States 1-cent coin from 1984. This seemingly ordinary penny is far more exciting than you think, and by the end of this video, you'll see just why it could be worth far more than its face value. Let's take a quick look at 1984, the year this penny was minted. It was a pivotal time for the U.S., both politically and culturally. The country was in the midst of the Reagan administration, with the economy slowly recovering from the recessions of the 1970s. In the world of coins, 1984 was a year like many others for the U.S. Mint, as they produced billions of pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters. But as time passed, these coins would become more than just currency. They'd become highly sought-after collectibles, especially the 1984 penny. At first glance, the 1984 penny might look just like any other coin from the 1980s. It features the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design that's been with us since 1909, created by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln's image is one of the most iconic portraits in U.S. coin history, symbolizing the leadership and legacy of one of the greatest presidents in American history. On the reverse, you'll find the Lincoln Memorial, which has been part of the Pennies design since 1959. The memorial represents the strength and unity of the nation, making the penny a symbol of both the past and present of the United States, but here's where things get interesting. Although the 1984 penny might look like an ordinary coin to the untrained eye, there's a reason collectors are paying close attention to it today. Like many other coins from this era, most 1984 pennies were heavily circulated, meaning they've been used in countless transactions and have seen years of wear and tear. Over time, these coins start to show their age with scratches, discoloration, and other signs of use. However, as we've seen in the world of coin collecting, finding a coin in uncirculated condition can make all the difference. The value of a 1984 penny is largely determined by how well it has been preserved. Now, let's talk about why the 1984 penny is especially intriguing for collectors. Over the years, a small number of these pennies were minted with errors that make them even more valuable. Minting errors occur when something goes wrong during the production process, and these errors can lead to coins that are truly unique. Some 1984 pennies were struck off-center, meaning the design is misaligned, while others have been found with double strikes, creating a distinctive appearance. These minting errors are rare, and coin collectors love them because they're one-of-a-kind pieces. So, what's the big deal about the 1984 penny, and how much could it be worth? If you have a 1984 penny in uncirculated condition, or if you happen to have one with a rare minting error, you might just have a coin that's worth far more than its original 1-cent value. Are you ready for the big reveal? If your 1984 penny is in perfect condition, or it features one of those rare minting errors, it could be worth an astounding $52,000. Yes, you heard that right, $52,000 for a single penny. That's right, the 1984 penny, once just a small part of everyday transactions, could now be worth a fortune, depending on its condition and any rare features it might have. So, if you're sorting through your coins or checking your collection, make sure you keep an eye out for those 1984 pennies. If one happens to be in pristine condition, or if you spot a unique error, you could be holding on to a valuable treasure. Top 8. We're taking a deep dive into the 1979 United States 1-cent coin, which, believe it or not, might be hiding a treasure worth much more than you would expect. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be looking at your pocket change in a whole new way. Let's start by taking a step back to the year 1979. It was a time of significant change and political shifts in the United States. Jimmy Carter was in office, and the country was dealing with the energy crisis, inflation, and high gas prices. Yet, despite the tough economic times, the U.S. Mint was busy producing the currency that powered the nation's economy, including the 1-cent coin we're talking about today, the 1979 penny. Now, at first glance, you might think there's nothing particularly special about the 1979 penny. It features the well-known portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, which has adorned U.S. pennies for over a century. The reverse side shows the Lincoln Memorial, created by Frank Gasparo, which has been part of the penny's design since 1959. These designs have stood the test of time, and while they may look familiar, there's much more to this particular penny than meets the eye. Most of the 1979 pennies that were minted were widely circulated, just like any other penny. Over the years, these coins have been used in countless transactions, which means most of them show signs of wear, scratches, discoloration, and general damage from years of handling. But here's the twist: finding a 1979 penny in uncirculated, pristine condition is a real rarity, and that's where the value starts to skyrocket. Coins that have been kept in perfect condition, free from any marks or damage, are incredibly sought after by collectors. So, what makes the 1979 penny stand out in the world of coin collecting? It all comes down to condition and rarity. While many of these pennies were mass-produced, it's the uncirculated examples and those with minting errors that catch the attention of collectors. Some 1979 pennies were struck off-center, others were double-struck, and a few even had other unique minting errors. These coins are highly valuable because they're considered one-of-a-kind, and collectors will pay top dollar for them. Now, let's talk about the potential value of this coin. If you happen to have a 1979 penny that is in mint condition, you might be holding onto something quite valuable. A coin that's remained in excellent shape, or one that has a rare minting error, could be worth significantly more than just 1 cent. How much more, you ask? If your 1979 penny is in perfect condition or features a rare error, it could be worth as much as $61,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $61,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe, but the truth is that these rare and pristine pennies can fetch incredible amounts of money on the collector's market. So, before you toss that 1979 penny into a jar or leave it in your pocket change, it might be worth giving it a closer look. You could be sitting on a small fortune without even realizing it. To sum it up, the 1979 penny might seem like just another coin, but for collectors, it's a piece of American history. Whether it's in perfect condition or has a rare minting error, the 1979 penny could be worth a lot more than you think. So, next time you're going through your change or looking through your collection, keep an eye out for this rare gem. It could be worth a whole lot more than 1 cent. Top 9, we're going to take a closer look at a coin you might have lying around in your collection or even in your pocket change. It's a seemingly simple coin, but trust me, there's a lot more to the 1985 United States 1 cent than meets the eye. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be shocked to find out just how valuable this little penny could be. Let's set the stage. The year was 1985, and the United States was in the midst of a booming economy. People were seeing the rise of new technologies, pop culture was in full swing with big names like Michael Jackson and Madonna ruling the music charts, and the country was feeling optimistic. During this time, the U.S. Mint continued its essential work of producing the currency that powered everyday life, including the 1985 penny. While this coin was issued as part of regular circulation, not many people realized that it could become a hidden treasure years later. The 1985 penny, like many other coins, features the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side, designed by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln, one of America's most beloved presidents, has graced the penny since 1909, and his image is instantly recognizable. On the reverse side, you'll find the iconic Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. This design has been part of the penny since 1959, representing the unity and strength of the nation. These images on the penny have stood the test of time, and yet, there's something about the 1985 penny that makes it more than just a regular piece of currency. Here's the thing, most of the 1985 pennies that were minted were widely circulated in daily transactions, meaning they've seen years of wear and tear. These coins are often scratched, discolored, and have signs of use from being passed from hand to hand. However, here's where it gets interesting. While the majority of these pennies are far from pristine, there are a select few that were either carefully preserved or remain in remarkable condition. It's these coins that catch the attention of collectors and can lead to significant profits for those lucky enough to find them. So, what makes the 1985 penny so special in the world of coin collecting? The key is condition and rarity. Coins that have been carefully stored or remained uncirculated over the years are far less common than you might think. Most of the 1985 pennies have gone through extensive circulation, so finding one that's free from damage or wear is an exciting discovery. If you're lucky enough to come across a 1985 penny that's been well preserved, you could be holding on to something much more valuable than a single cent. But wait, there's more. The 1985 penny also holds the potential for rare minting errors. If you happen to find a penny with a minting mistake, such as an off-center strike or a double-struck coin, then you've just discovered a hidden gem. Minting errors like these are incredibly rare, and collectors are always on the lookout for these unique pieces. These mistakes can increase the value of the coin dramatically, sometimes to incredible amounts. Now, let's talk about how much a 1985 penny could actually be worth. If you have a 1985 penny in mint condition, or even one with a rare minting error, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Ready for this? A 1985 penny in excellent condition, or with a rare error, could be worth as much as $56,000, yes, you heard that right, $56,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe, but it's true. Coins like the 1985 penny, when they're in pristine condition or feature a rare minting error, can fetch a small fortune on the collector's market. So, the next time you're digging through your coins or checking your collection, take a closer look at any 1985 pennies you come across. It could be the hidden treasure you've been waiting for. Top 10 and last expensive penny. We're diving into the fascinating world of the 1974 United States 1-cent coin, and you might be surprised by just how much value this small coin holds. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be checking your coin jar a little more closely. Let's rewind to 1974. The country was in the midst of significant economic changes, with inflation rising and the end of the Vietnam War fresh in people's memories. But while Americans were dealing with these changes, the U.S. Mint was busy producing the currency that kept the wheels of the economy turning, including the 1974 penny. At the time, most people saw this penny as just another coin to use in everyday transactions. Little did they know that decades later, this very coin would be worth far more than its original 1-cent value. The 1974 penny features the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln, who has been featured on the penny since 1909, represents one of the most beloved presidents in American history. On the reverse side, you'll find the familiar Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. This design has been part of the penny since 1959, symbolizing the unity and strength of the United States. While the 1974 penny might look like any other penny from that era, there's a secret that many collectors know: this coin can actually be quite valuable, especially if you're lucky enough to find one in pristine condition. Here's where it gets interesting. While most of the 1974 pennies that were minted were used in everyday transactions, many of them were worn down, scratched, and damaged through circulation. However, a small number of 1974 pennies were kept in near-perfect or uncirculated condition, and it's these coins that are highly sought after by collectors today. Coins that have been well preserved and show no signs of wear can fetch much higher prices on the market than coins that have been heavily circulated, but it doesn't stop there. The 1974 penny also has the potential to be worth much more if it has a rare minting error. Minting errors happen when something goes wrong during the production process, and these mistakes can turn an ordinary coin into a highly desirable collectible. Some 1974 pennies were struck off-center, meaning the design was misaligned during production. Others were double-struck, giving the coin a unique appearance. These minting errors are incredibly rare and are often the highlight of a collector's collection. Coins with these kinds of errors are in high demand and can be worth far more than their face value. So, how much could your 1974 penny actually be worth? If you have one that is in pristine, uncirculated condition, or if it features a rare minting error, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Are you ready for this? A 1974 penny in excellent condition, or with a rare minting error, could be worth an incredible $69,000, yes, you heard that right, $69,000 for a single penny. It's unbelievable, but it's true. That tiny 1974 penny you might have sitting in a drawer or change jar could actually be worth more than most cars, and it all comes down to its condition and rarity. So, the next time you're digging through your spare change or going through your coin collection, make sure to check those 1974 pennies carefully. You might have a hidden treasure on your hands. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of the 1974 penny and want to learn more about valuable and rare coins, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Keep an eye out for those rare pennies, because sometimes the smallest coins can be worth the most. Happy collecting, and who knows, you might just have a $69,000 penny in your collection.